Good evening, everyone, and welcome to the live stream. I hope everyone is very well this evening. I hope everyone is staying safe, as Boris Johnson tells them to. So, just want to say hello to Jake, who's on the stream tonight. We have also Ministerian. Thank you very much for coming on the stream. Killer, great to have you on once again moderating. We have English Viking. Great to see you, English Viking. Dude, great to have you on. Hope you're well. We have Kevin. Great to see you, Kevin. Burlug, great to see you. Vote for me if you want squares to roll. That's interesting. Lenahan, great to have you on the stream once again. We have Glasgow Kiss, great to see you, Glasgow. We have Dano, great to have you, Dano. Morag, great to see you. Dude, great to have you on. Did I already say hello to Dude? Pete, great to see you, Pete. Akis Mad, great to have you on. Hope you're well. We have Pablo. Good evening, Pablo. Helder, great to see you. Christian, great to have you on. Angels, great to see you once again. We have, let me see. We have Red Gren, great to have you on. Majin Mai. Tiny Demolition Lover, great to see you on. Hope you're well. We have also, let me see. Conservator, great to have you on, Conservator. Hope you're well. Min in Malta, great to have you on. Sean, great to see you. Thanks for correcting me on something I said. I don't remember what it was, but Sean was... it was about when Ireland left, when the Irish punt was no longer pegged to the UK pound sterling. So he corrected me on something I'd said in the video. So thanks for that. We have Night Raven, great to see you, Night Raven. Tom, great to have you on. Aaron, great to have you on. CJM, great to see you once again. Hope you're well. We have, who else have we got? Stan, great to see you, Stan. Night Raven, sorry if I haven't already said hello to Night Raven, or if I have. Let's see, we have Kamen, great to have you on. Keith, Orman, who else? Kenny, great to see you, Kenny. Hope you're well. Kenny's always on the stream. That's great. We have Martin, great to see you, Martin. Marilena, great to have you on again. We have Stephen P, Monkeytron, David Finley, Ranwar, Yanwar, BM, Max are better than PCs, great to have you on. ADE, with a vomiting rainbow. We have Nathan. Who else have we? Hadrian, great to have you on. And we also have Graf von TV, Igor, Ellis Bio, and wow, we're up to 117. That's great. So I want to say hello to everyone. Turkey Boy in his name. Turkey Boy. Who's Turkey Boy? Magister, great to see you. So I want to say welcome to the stream tonight. Of course, the stream is on Tuesdays at 9:30 British summertime and Fridays at the same time as well, which is 10:30 Italian time. So what are we going to talk about tonight? Of course, we're going to talk about Boris Johnson, Brexit, and Donald Trump. All the best. So I just want to jump to the first story. Of course, remember to smash that like button, guys. Get us up to over 250 likes if we can. I think it was 250, maybe, or over 200 at the last live stream on Friday. So that was fantastic. You can hit me with a super chat, and I'll prioritize your message. Irish summertime, says Sean. And you can also support the channel by becoming a patron. And if you become a patron, you can join me and other patrons after the stream, where we have a chat about the stream and about crazy things as well. That's a video or audio chat, as you prefer. So let's go to the first story, of course, which is Brexit. So I'm just going to read a little bit from this article from The Guardian. It says here, Number 10 blames EU and plays down prospects of Brexit trade deal. So I have been saying for a while that I believe that Boris Johnson will pull something out of the bag at the last minute. Just before I continue, I just wanted to say welcome to everyone who's just come on the stream. Apologies if I haven't said hello to you directly. Just there's so many people on the stream, so it's not always possible. But welcome anyway. So as I said, I always believe that Boris Johnson would pull something out at the last minute, some bare bones deal that he can return to Parliament and sell to the public and sell to the Brexiteers. I'm still sticking with that. Now, I may be foolhardy to do so, but because the news is going in a different direction, it's looking more and more likely that Boris Johnson will leave without a deal. And this is something I was talking about in one of the videos that I want to I just want to talk about more, is the idea that the media use all the time this idea that Boris Johnson is going to walk away to no deal. You don't walk away to a no deal. You walk away without a deal. Now, Michael Gove, of course, has said that no deal doesn't exist. There's always a deal, or something has been agreed. And technically, he is right about that. But we're talking about a trade deal. So there is no trade deal available for Boris Johnson at the moment. Doesn't really want one. So it says here, Downing Street has played down the prospect of reaching a... Whoops, what happened to my screen? Sorry, just go back up again. These ads pop up. So Downing Street has played down the prospect of reaching a trade deal with the EU in time for December, saying that it would be very difficult, blaming Brussels' insistence on tackling tough issues up front. Yeah, so the problem here is that Brussels, the EU, want to get certain important aspects out of the way, and they want to leave the more minor issues towards the end, or to allocate more time for those. Boris Johnson wants to do it the other way around. He wants to get politically, how can I say, delicious aspects of the deal sorted out first. Sexy ones, for example, like fishing and the level playing field. He wants to sort those ones out first. And then he wants to go to... Why is this like this? Move this down. And then he wants to move to having a deal on the more difficult issues. The UK's chief negotiator David Frost is meeting his EU counterpart Michel Barnier in London in advance of next week, the next round of formal talks next week. Actually, this is something I forgot to talk about in the video I uploaded today, where there was the Brexiteer saying Michel Barnier is coming to London, because he's desperate. No, that was scheduled. Okay. There wasn't that Michel Barnier is getting worried and he said, okay, get me on a plane to London because we need to sort this out. No, that was part of the plan. So it's not that he's coming to kiss Boris Johnson's arse, okay? Begging for something. That was part of the plan. But with the clock ticking on the 31st of December, when the status quo transition is due to end, Boris Johnson's official spokesman conceded that hopes of a deal are dwindling. The EU continues to insist, as he said, the EU continues to insist that we must agree on difficult areas in the negotiations, such as EU state aid, before any further work can be done in any area other than in any other area of the negotiations, including on legal texts, and it makes it very difficult to make progress, the spokesman said. It's because the EU are more concerned about bigger issues. Boris Johnson is concerned about smaller issues. And it makes sense, because if you can't sort out the big issues, then what's the point in talking about the little issues? I understand from the British point of view, they just want to sort out these smaller cherry-picked issues. But the EU said, no, we don't work that way. He goes on to say, we would insist we would instead like to settle the simplest issues first in order to build momentum in the talks, as time is short for both sides. Yes, but the UK had loads of time and they decided not to use it correctly. And they also had the opportunity to extend the transition period if they wanted, and Boris Johnson voted that down. Boris Johnson created legislation against that. So you can't blame the European Union for wasting time when you set an artificial deadline. You could have said, look, the EU is wasting time, let's extend the transition period so that we have enough time to get a good deal. It's like, it's not a fantastic analogy, but it's like going into the car dealer once again. I've used this analogy before. Going into the car dealer and saying, look, I want to buy a car in 5 minutes. And they say, well, it normally takes a bit longer than that. There's a lot of paperwork to do. And you say, no, I just want it in 5 minutes. You may be able to get a car, but it probably won't be the car that you wanted with the extras or the options that you wanted. Once again, this idea that the UK can just get what it wants and quickly doesn't make any sense. And once again, Boris Johnson set this deadline. So I really don't want to hear Brexiteers coming back after saying, oh, look, we didn't get the deal we wanted because the EU were wasting time. No, the EU set a time limit, and the EU had said that this wasn't sufficient. You had the possibility to extend, and you decided against that. So you can't blame the EU for that. But of course, they will attempt to do that. EU officials are exacerbated, however, by the EU has consistently said it wanted to see the contentious issues of fisheries policy and state aid settled up front. EU officials are exacerbated, however, by the briefings about negotiations in London, pointing out that the UK has not yet tabled its own proposals for state aid. See, this is the problem again. The UK has not presented, okay, this is our proposal for state aid. I talked about this before. The problem is not state aid. The problem is that the UK don't have any proposal set. They haven't actually said what we're going to do. There's no trust. The UK hasn't said what type of state aid we're going to allow in the UK. So if you don't actually have a proposal, how can you agree on it? And how can you blame the other side for not, considering it? If you haven't, okay, it's like EU, consider our proposal on state aid. Okay, can we see it? No. We sent you the email. Did you not get it? No, we didn't get the email. Oh, we sent it last week. Really? Can we see the receipt of your sending of the email? No, we deleted the receipt. But if you didn't see it, then that's your fault. How can we negotiate this? We don't even know what state aid in the UK will look like next year. Once again, this is about trust. Insiders say the UK is trying to cherry pick and claim it would be happy with a bare bones deal, while making sizable asks across the 11 sections of the negotiations, which, when put together, amount to a deal of substance. Johnson's government is reluctant to concede any control of state aid policy, boasting during last year's election campaign that one benefit of Brexit would be that the government could intervene more readily to help struggling UK businesses. How ironic that is. Yes, vote for us and we'll be able to help struggling UK companies. We have Tony Abbott. Thank you, Tony, for coming on the stream. UK desperately needs some help. I'd like to welcome Tony on the stream. My streams are becoming more and more popular. On Friday, we had Michelle Barnier. That was fantastic. So we have Tony Abbott on the stream tonight. Welcome, Tony. I'd like everyone to say a big welcome to Tony Abbott. The best of luck in your job working with Boris Johnson. I know that you said that you were a Remainer, but then you became a Brexiteer, and now you're a Brexiteer through and through. I want to know who America isn't donating to. Let me read some of your comments first before I continue. Tony Abbott, Struce. G'day. How are the old people, Tony? Oh, you started without me. Hello, Verti. Great to have you on the stream, Verti. Dear EU, please fill in this blank sheet of paper. Don't worry, I will fill in the necessary bits later. You can trust me. Ask anyone. Signed, Honest Boris. Honest Boris. Does Tony Abbott already switch to yours? Tony's clever. Tony's a very clever guy. It's truth. I know we have a few Aussies maybe on the stream tonight. They can vouch for Tony. So I just go on with this article. It says the Prime Minister's spokesman outlined the message on Tuesday, saying, "We'll set out further details of our domestic regime in due course." Okay, the time, the clock is ticking. Wouldn't you think that Boris Johnson would have had his oven-ready deal oven-ready? What happened to the oven-ready deal? I'd always said that the oven-ready deal was actually the withdrawal agreement, but he was telling people it was a deal. Now, if it wasn't the withdrawal agreement, what is it? And why doesn't the UK have it now? Wasn't it oven-ready? Wasn't it ready to go? This oven-ready deal. Really, why is nobody asking Boris Johnson about the oven-ready deal? I would give anything for a journalist to ask Boris Johnson or even Keir Starmer during PMQs, where is the oven-ready deal, Boris? Where is it? I want to see it. I think he left it in the oven. He left it too long in the oven. It's burnt. Yeah, it's burnt to a crisp. And then you may see it, Boris Johnson's oven-ready deal coming to a food bank near you. We will set it out further in due course. After the transition period, the UK will have its own regime of subsidy control, and it will not be subject to the EU's state aid regime. We have been very clear about that throughout. Okay, but do you want to deal with the EU? This is one of the requirements. They say, we'll have a deal with you, but show us what your state aid regime is going to look like. And the UK say, no, we won't. But we still want a deal. It's like, you're going, it's not exactly the same thing, but it's, back to our car purchase analogy. Can I see how you're going to pay for the car? No. Are you going to pay with credit card? I don't want to say. Are you going to pay with a check? Maybe. Whose name are you going to write on the check? Boris Johnson? He added, the UK's future arrangements are a matter for the British people and Parliament, not the European Union. Yes, but it's not the British people and the British Parliament that you're negotiating with. Who is this idiot? There's no name for this spokesperson. Yeah, we're negotiating with the European Union, but we're not going to tell the European Union what our arrangements are. We're going to tell Parliament and we're going to tell the British people. But not Brussels, because Brexit means Brexit or something. Brussels regards state aid constraints as a key aspect of ensuring a level playing field so that UK businesses cannot unfairly undercut their EU counterparts. With an EU Council expected to be held in October to finalise any free trade agreement, time is running short. During the last year of fraught negotiations over the EU withdrawal agreement formalising the UK's exit terms, Johnson made significant last-minute concessions, effectively allowing a border in the Irish Sea to get his oven-ready deal done. So the oven-ready deal was actually the withdrawal agreement after all. And the oven-ready deal is going to be fed to the people of Northern Ireland. Well, in particular, the Unionist community in Northern Ireland. I suggest people, so I'm just going to read some of your chats in the stream. I suggest people who do not know about the marches happening across Scotland, starting 2 weeks on Friday, visit the website, the Long March. Sorry. Post again. The Long March to Freedom, the Round Table. Yes, Verti's right. Join Patreon. We have millions of channels. Best thing ever. We have a lot of channels on Discord. There's one for everything. It's like Oprah. One for you, everyone. One for you. One for you. Everyone gets a channel. Hi from Belfast, Alexander. Hope you're well. Let's see. Jesus Christ, the deal is a sham. It's a smokescreen so the UK can blame the EU because the UK needs someone to blame. Miss Nomad, I agree. Boris Johnson, if he doesn't get his deal, will of course blame the EU. We had our oven-ready deal. The EU wouldn't accept it. It's their fault. But see, he can do that for a certain amount of time. But once a no deal hits, once you start to see the consequences of leaving the European Union transition period, leaving the Brexit transition period without some sort of deal, people will say, okay, well, why do I have to wait for medicine? Why do we have to stockpile food? Why are there trucks piling up on both sides of the border? You can say, well, it's the EU's fault. Okay, but that won't fix the problem. I really hope that when things go badly, that people will ask questions. Okay, blame the EU, but how are you going to fix it? Blaming someone doesn't fix the problem. If my house is flooded, and I discover that the problem was, well, if I blame the plumber for not fixing the tap, my house will still be flooded. Blaming the plumber won't fix the problem. I need someone to come along and fix it. But he's under pressure from Brexit-backing Conservative MPs not to make fresh compromises now, and even to repudiate some aspects of the withdrawal agreement. Yeah, that was just absolute madness. Let's reopen the withdrawal agreement. Let's ignore parts of the withdrawal agreement. Ian Duncan Smith was one of these people, and Ian Duncan Smith voted so that people wouldn't actually be able to read the withdrawal agreement, including himself, and then he complained that he wasn't able to read the withdrawal agreement. It's like it's like buying something from IKEA and then burning the instructions and then complaining that you weren't able to construct the piece of furniture correctly. And somebody telling you, don't burn the instruction. You say, I'm going to burn these instructions. I'm voting to burn these instructions before reading them. Now let's build our table. Oh crap, the table falls apart. If only somebody had read the instructions. This is how mad it is. One potential solution to the negotiations impasse has been previously mooted, is a series of separate deals on different issues, financial services, fisheries, and so on. Yeah, this sort of, okay, we leave the transition period, but we extend the implementation, or we have an implementation period. Now, some people have said this isn't possible because I think technically it's not possible. Well, it's possible. The transition period ends, but you introduce an implementation period, which means that you need time to implement the changes. Now, these technically could go on forever, but we'll see. I still think it's somewhat up in the air. But a senior UK official close to the talks had previously revealed that the EU is not keen on a Switzerland-style suite of agreements. In reference to the 100-plus bilateral deals the country has with Brussels, as it would be too complicated to manage for them. Because it would suit the UK, wouldn't suit the EU. The EU is a complicated beast, and the UK don't seem to understand that. And the EU have agreements with other countries, and you want them to throw those agreements out in favor of your agreement. As soon as the EU would sign some agreement that's beneficial to you, you'd have countries like Norway, Switzerland, Ukraine or whatever coming along and saying, hey, wait a minute, why did you agree to this with the UK and agree something else with us? Wait a minute, you can't do that. And the EU would have to say, oh, you're right. Let me read some of your comments again. The implementation period would only apply to the EU and UK. Not EU's problem with Johnson's waste of time negotiating instead. The Long March to Freedom, Ireland is celebrating 99 years this year. I'm not familiar with the Long March to Freedom. I should check it out. The transition period is the implementation period. Good point. So there isn't an implementation period separate from the transition period. Each month of the calendar should have one of Max's analogies in each month with his picks. That's an interesting thing. You have a picture of Nigel Farage looking like Del Boy from Only Fools and Horses, trying to sell you a three-wheel van, but telling you it's a Rolls Royce. Are Rolls Royce still made in the UK? The EU is also seen to have an overarching deal on governance and dispute resolution. France's EU Affairs Minister, Clément Blouin, I know I mispronounced that, said that no deal was a risk, but blamed the British government for the impasse. Things are not advancing because the UK would like to have its cake and eat it, to leave the European Union and have access to the European market. Well, this is an interesting phrase to use, because Boris Johnson was actually using this expression, I think, before he became Prime Minister. He actually said that with Brexit, we'd be able to have our cake and eat it too. And people believed him. Nobody challenged him and said, okay, but what about other countries who have trade deals with us? Wouldn't they be upset if the UK got a deal better than these countries? Wouldn't they come knocking on the EU's door and say, hey, wait a minute, why did you agree to this? Conservator says Rolls-Royce is made in the UK by BMW. It's made in the UK. Just ignore by whom. I can't think what's in the minds of the UK negotiators. We, the common masses, can understand why the EU can't give a better deal to the UK than it gives itself. Good point, David. I'm trying to get into the minds of David Frost. What is going through David Frost's mind? I think at this stage, David Frost is not actually a negotiator. He's more like a messenger. He goes to the EU and says, Boris Johnson wants X. And they say, we're not going to give Boris Johnson X. Then he gets on the phone and says, Boris, they won't give us X. Do you want something else? They don't have pepperoni pizza. Do you want something else? And Boris says, okay, try this. And then he meets with Michel Barnier and says, can you give us Y? And Michel Barnier says, no, we can't give you Y. And then I go back, okay, can you give us Z? I'm feeling it's pretty much like that. Can we have M, O, and Q? And the EU says, no, you can't really cherry pick the letters from the alphabet. And they say, well, can you give us something? And they say, we can give you A minus. And they're like, okay, yeah, okay, we'll go. No, we can't go with A minus because then the Brexiteers would be angry, because we told them we'd have the 26 letters. and not have to pay for any of them. Confusion is going through David Frost's mind, although UK has them. UK never was a full member in the slightest, always one toe in, one toe out. But I did say that, when the UK was engaging in the European Union, it was a force for good. Sauerkraut wrote something in German, but I don't understand. I don't speak German, unfortunately. After Thatcher, UK trajectory was one of a member leaving, which is sad because I think, as I've said before, the EU is less without the UK. 281 viewers. Fantastic, guys. Smash that like button. Smash that like button. Smash it like it's like a whack-a-mole, one of Boris Johnson's whack-a-moles. Speaking of French radio, he said the EU would not compromise in linking market access to respect for its rules on health and the environment. The EU has said the UK can only have tariff-free, quota-free access to the European market if it agrees to respect European standards on environment, workers' rights, and state aid for companies. Really, I at this stage, Boris Johnson could just say, okay, we'll accept those things. And he could come back with his deal. He could say to the British people, we didn't actually accept this and actually accept it. Boris Johnson doesn't care about telling lies. And he would have his deal. He would have a pretty good deal, probably. Or it wouldn't be as good as membership, of course, but it would be much better than no deal. And it would piss off the Brexiteers, certain Brexiteers, some Brexiteers. Look, Boris has won. If Boris said that he has defeated the EU, some people will say, yes, he defeated the EU, because they don't actually look at things in detail. They just go with whatever Boris has to say. And I think it would work. I think he could come back with his deal. The EU would be happy. The UK would be following their environmental, workers' rights and product standards. And the UK would have access to a free trade agreement. Before we go on to the next one, I just want to say thanks for Ministering for posting that. After the stream, the discussion will continue with a live audio or video chat on Discord. So if you're a patron, make sure to check that out. If you're not, you can also become a patron if you'd like. Okay, I just want to go to a video of Boris Johnson. So in this, Boris Johnson is talking about getting back to work. Boris wants to get back to work. He wants the British people to get back to work. So let's hear what he has to say. I'm not going to show you all of the video, okay? I know I don't want to impose too much Boris Johnson on you tonight, but this is just something about the UK getting back to work, because schools open today, and fingers crossed that there will not be a spike in new cases because of this. We have to remember that it's going to take a while before we actually see any effect of the opening of schools.
Well, I think Downing Street is feeling a little bit calmed by the return to quite a few schools in England and Wales today. The whole process carries on over a few days. They stagger their return in many of these schools. And at Cabinet today, ministers were told that they should take some encouragement from what happened in Leicester, where the schools actually opened last week, and where, of course, there had been a serious lockdown. And there, the attendance has actually been pretty impressive. The council today confirming that it was 91%, quite close to the attendance record that is getting reported in Scotland, where, of course, schools have already gone back. In the House of Commons today, which was back, of course, the Education Secretary talked about that, but he also talked about how he may well have to move next summer's exams back a bit. That could end up being the least of his worries, or certainly there'll be plenty of them in front of that. And he alluded to that when he said there might well need to be an assessment of exactly just how much pupils have fallen behind in the 6 months that they haven't been going to school. That might not be a national assessment, it could be within schools, but nonetheless a lot of work going on there. The return to school, of course, as you're alluding there, was always meant to, in Boris Johnson's eyes, liberate parents to go back to the workplace. That does not appear to be happening in anything like the numbers that Boris Johnson was hoping for when he appealed for that at the beginning of August. And you get a flavour of how sticky that return to work is. We know it's sticky in the private sector, sticky in the public sector as well. When you hear so many stories about how ministers have been trying to urge their departments to get people back in, there's pressure from the centre to get workers back at their desks. But this letter, which I've just...
Before we get to the letter, this is dangerous, encouraging people to get back to work. For what reason? To save the economy, to save the local sandwich bar. You can't deal with a pandemic by looking at, well, will the sandwich bar close? It's insane. And then, of course, the government want people back in the offices for show. It's not because these places are safe, not because they are not going to be productive. It's actually been proven in some ways that people are more productive at home. Now, we actually had a discussion on this on Discord about whether that's true or not. But I do think to a certain extent, not much, Max, but thanks for your hard work. Thank you very much, Hedler. Thank you very much for that super chat. Much appreciated. But I still think this idea of sending people back into work when there are still a large number of cases is dangerous. If people can work from home and this is the way we're going, then why try to fight that?
Just had handed to me, written on Thursday from the Health and Safety Executive to the Department for Work and Pensions. This accuses them, not in one of the old offices in Whitehall, but in a swish modern one in Leeds, of breaching material breaches of the Health and Safety at Work Act, not managing to stay within COVID restrictions, and maybe being far too ambitious in thinking they could get 50% of their workforce back. So many problems still there. As we said, schools in England and Wales, many of them starting back again today, and of course Parliament starting back today after the summer break. Here's how it went. Rush hour this morning on commuter routes into London. No sign of the great return to the office desk. Boris Johnson told Cabinet this morning it was already happening.
People are going back to the office in huge numbers across our country and...
Can Boris ever tell the truth? People are going back to the office in huge numbers. Huge numbers. People are not going back to the office for a number of reasons. They're not going back because they don't feel it's safe. They're not going back because it's not necessary. Or worse of all, they're not going back because there is no job. Many people are staying at home because or still have money in their pocket because of the furlough scheme. But once that ends, they're not going back to work. If there is no work for you and you're surviving off the furlough scheme, you're not going to take the tram or the underground or the train or the bus to work because there is no work. Boris knows this, I know this, you know this, but why is Boris lying about it?
London, no sign of the great return to the office desk. Boris Johnson told Cabinet this morning it was already happening.
People are going back to the office in huge numbers across our country and quite right too. And
the government's hoping opening up schools in England and Wales after the summer break will bring workers back into offices to support town centres, shops and cafes. Transport for London reported passenger numbers up around 7% on last week, but still down 50 to 70% on normal.
So students, however, they will be required to wear face masks in transitions and during unstructured time in communal spaces.
Many of the schools just opened, like this one, are having a few training days for the staff before pupils come in. But others have fully opened, like this sixth form college in London.
It feels weird now. I'm actually talking to people, not through a screen. You know, I'm back to how some semblance of normality like it was.
You're not next to people anymore. You've got a screen literally just before your teacher. You've got face masks on. It feels weird.
Like with all the social distancing and like all the new rules the college is implementing, it makes me feel like more safe in a way.
I think this is necessary, that people have to feel safe first, and then we will eventually be able to remove these measures. I really hope that's the case. I hope we'll be able to remove these measures. Zenorman, thank you very much for that super chat. FFS Boris, I won't say it. Zone 1 in England is a ghost town. Wow. So the city centre, the centre of London is a ghost town at the moment. Now, it should actually be one of the busiest places at the moment, because it's the centre of business, the centre of the economy, in a sense. And if it's a ghost town, then that's extremely worrying for the economy. Thanks for that super chat, Zennerman. Chicken without head. Over 300 viewers. Fantastic. This is a record, I think. Wow, that's amazing. Thank you to everyone who has shared the stream, who have liked the stream. Keep on liking. That's amazing. I think we've hit a record tonight. That's amazing. Wow. Okay, thanks to everyone, and thanks to the mods, and for everyone who's liking and sharing the stream. That's amazing. Thank you so much, guys. It's because of Boris, isn't it? I put Boris in the title. And Lenahan, thank you so much for that kind donation. You're a star. If you have a comment, I'll try and read it in the super chat, in the chat. I'll read some of your other comments first. Haven't been watching UK news last week. I'm COVID and Brexit fizzled out. It gets my nerves, Trump and Boris. Sorry to say that, Social. Tories want schools back so workers can get back to the offices, because the property owners are important, not the office workers, and workers can go back with their without the schools looking after the kids. I've talked about this before, how they want people back in the office because the economy needs people buying stuff in the local area, in the center of wherever you work. But this is going to be a huge shift, because people are not going to go back to work because there isn't a job, because it's unsafe, or because they can do the work pretty well at home. We have to accept this is the new reality. Many people will return to the office because they like working in the office. They like the social aspect of that. But I think the majority, or at least 50%, are going to say, look, if I don't have to go to the office, I won't. I can work around that. I can create an environment in my home that allows me to work pretty well from home. I have my coffee machine ready in the morning when I get up. I have a quick chat on Zoom or Skype or whatever tool I'm using with my colleagues before we start work. These are things you can do when I need to, pop down the shops to get some milk or bread or whatever. I can do that. I wasn't able to do that while I was in the office. And I'm saving money as well, because for example, if I went to the local snack bar or sandwich bar, I was spending a lot of money every day. If your company isn't compensating you for that, that is a big saving. If you're, I don't know, the last time I was in the UK, I went to, it was in the airport. Oh, of course, the airport is the wrong place to buy a sandwich. It was like £4.50 for a little piece of bread with a piece of lettuce inside. Anyway.
And I do outside.
The Education Secretary today said the opening of all schools was a milestone that should be properly appreciated. He also repeated his apology to students who've gone through uncertainty as the government U-turned on how to assess A-level and GCSE results.
It was not a U-turn. You went, then you discovered that Scotland were doing a better job, and you said, okay, we better copy Scotland.
Without exams.
This situation has, I know, caused a great deal of stress and uncertainty, and I'm deeply sorry that those who have borne the brunt of it have been students themselves. I can only apologise to them again for this.
Just one U-turn in a...
Why is it him that's always apologising? Why is it he that's always apologising? And Boris Johnson hasn't apologised. While in Scotland, the First Minister apologised when she wasn't actually responsible for the problem. She wasn't directly responsible for the problem, but she apologised as the leader of the government in Scotland. Why is the leader of the government in Westminster not apologising?
Summer of them, which the Prime Minister alluded to when he spoke to the Cabinet.
In the last few months, we've been sailing into the teeth of a gale. No question.
Who is this for? Who is this theatre for? I know the cameras are rolling, so he's like, okay, let's think of some witty thing to say. I'd love to know what Boris is like when the cameras are not rolling. I imagine he's not so jolly.
And sometimes in the teeth of a gale, it's necessary. I'm no great nautical expert, but it's necessary to tack here and there in response to the facts as they change, as the winds change. But we have been going steadily in the direction, in the course that we set out on, and we have not been blown off that course.
What course? You did more U-turns than a person lost in IKEA.
The Cabinet was meeting in socially distanced format in the Foreign Office. The Defence Secretary had to apologise for breaching the 1 metre plus rules when he shook hands with a colleague on the way to Cabinet.
It's just for show. Yes, we're maintaining social distances when the camera is rolling. Well, when the camera is not rolling, or when we can't see the camera, we just ignore all this crap. Yeah, social what? Yeah, we do that because Boris mentioned something about it that I don't even read the newspapers.
Some Tory MPs spent the summer wincing at the government U-turns and longing for COVID restrictions to be lifted.
May I just speak on behalf of older people? I'm one. I think I'm the oldest person here, 70, still kicking just. And what I can say to him is older people don't want to be patronised. They're very well aware of their own health needs. They can be trusted to isolate if they have to. We don't want to have this thing that the man from Whitehall knows best. The man from Whitehall doesn't know best, especially as he changes his mind every 2 minutes. So can we get back to being a proper Conservative government?
Why are you saying the man from Whitehall? Say his name. Boris Johnson. Boris Johnson is doing all these U-turns. The government are doing these U-turns. Don't, offload this responsibility onto someone like, the intern in Whitehall, the civil servant who's trying to, do their job with conflicting information. This is the government's responsibility.
And trusting the people and let the people decide how to look after their own health.
I understand where my right honourable friend is coming from. The goal is to have as little intervention, as targeted intervention as possible, subject to keeping the virus under control.
Getting that number down. Not telling you where the number will be, but we're getting that number down. Matt Hancock.
10 said it would take a fortnight to know how many pupils had returned to the reopened schools. Some indicators suggest attendance could be around 90%, but spikes in COVID infections could quickly change that.
And that's one of the problems, that's one of the issues I raised in one of the videos about how is this going to be measured? If there is a spike in a local area, will the school be closed? Will the more U-turns than a person lost? Zennerman, thank you very much for that super chat. Will the school be closed? Will the students be tested? Will be test and trace carried out? Will the town itself be locked down? How will this transpire? So let's get off this sort of depressing talk for a moment. I just want to lighten the mood a little bit. So if you're new to the stream, and I think some people are new to the stream, during about halfway through the stream, we have a little funny video just to lighten the mood a little bit. So let me bring this up for you. One of my favorites. The Ian Duncan Smiths. Not to be confused with Ian Duncan Smith. Huh?
You don't need no education. You don't need no rent control. No future prospects beyond the classroom. Spend your whole life on the dole. Hey, teachers, go away and shut up. All in all, it's just another fuck you to schools. Except Eton. We like Eton, don't we, Cronus? Oh, crikey, no need to be rude, Cronus. You don't need no face protection. Splash around in COVID juice. Okay, fine, we'll do a U-turn. No, it wasn't meant to be a B-turn. Go away and shut up. Hey, off-ball Sally Collier, take the blame for this one, will ya? All in all, it's just another fuck you to schools. What do you make of that, Cronus? Oh, crikey.
Fantastic. Okay, let's move along. Okay, so staying on the topic of the pandemic, we have seen that Ireland had one of its own victims, a very important person within the European Union. He was Phil Hogan, who was a trade commissioner for the EU, an Irish trade commissioner, and he had a bit of a bother because he attended a golf dinner, and I've said before how that's, so much a man of the people attending a golf dinner. But he also was caught driving with his mobile phone in hand. Maybe he was following one of my streams. And what else did he do? He broke the rules of the pandemic generally. And it was touch and go whether he was actually going to resign or not. And then he eventually resigned. So now he has to be replaced. So the European Union have been presenting some press conferences. I'm just going to show you a little bit, and then I'm going to show you who I think could be in the running to replace Phil Hogan.
At this point, there is no information that reached us from Dublin yet. So the ball is in the court of the Irish authorities to submit names for possible commissioners of Irish nationality. Regarding contacts, I think I informed you on Friday of a first phone call between the President and the Taoiseach, where the President conveyed very clearly the state of play and her position regarding an Irish commissioner nominee, and in particular that she would expect the authorities to submit two names, or at least two names, that of a woman and that of a man, because this is particularly important as the President is committed to ensure a gender balance in the College of Commissioners. But there are no news to report on.
Okay, I'm very sorry about that. That title is a bit of a clickbait. Who's going to be running for Phil Hogan's job. So the requirement from the European Commission is for either a man or a woman. because they want to maintain gender parity. Max volume if you can. I'm sorry, the volume on the original video is quite low. She just said that we don't have anyone. It's up to Ireland to provide someone. But anyway, the video doesn't really actually give you any information. But someone who could be in the running is Mairead McGuinness. And this is just a clip from Mairead McGuinness in action in the European Parliament.
Colleagues, if it were in my power, but it's not, the word rubbish would be banned from this chamber.
Look who's there, our good friend Nigel.
I wouldn't share it with you, sir. We'll move to the next speaker on my list, Madam Simmer. Please, this is a very difficult issue for all of us, and the least we could do is respect the person that has the microphone. There are too many, and I have to say, on my right, intervening with the debate. Please listen. It is far too serious an issue for us to play out in Parliament. This is not the House of Commons, colleagues. This is the European Parliament.
So there are many videos of Mairead McGuinness telling Boris Johnson's friend Nigel Farage where to stick it. Let me see some of your comments. Now, I'm not a fan of Mairead McGuinness's party. She's with Fine Gael. If I were living in Ireland, I would probably... Nigel wasn't even an MP. No. If I was living in Ireland, I'd probably... This is probably shocking for many people. I'd probably vote for Sinn Féin. I think they represent a certain amount of change. Not associating them with what happened in Northern Ireland, but in the Republic of Ireland, I think they would be. Artemis says, hang on, Max, are you saying that Ireland can pick their replacement, but Brussels are the dictator of the... Yes, but damn it, Artemis, you let the cat out of the bag. We're supposed to say, no, the EU is a dictatorship. And that nobody can be elected to the European Parliament. Even Dominic Cummings. Why am I saying Dominic Cummings, Boris Johnson? Nigel Farage. Even Nigel himself. Yes, Alex Sinn Féin. If EU officials can pronounce Taoiseach, why is it so hard for Brexiteers and right-wing media in the UK media to pronounce? Probably because they don't want to pronounce it correctly. Or maybe they're like me, they can't pronounce words correctly. Last time Farage went for election, he was beaten by a guy wearing a dolphin suit. That was fantastic. Now he's decided not to run any longer. He's decided that he will throw someone else to the wolves or to the dolphins, as the case may be. So it's who will replace him? Phil Hogan? I don't know, but I think Mairead McGuinness would be an interesting choice. Okay, I just want to jump across the water for a little bit first and discuss what's happening in the United States. Hopefully I'm not going to lose a lot of people now. But this is a story that dropped just before I came on the stream, before I set up the stream tonight. It's in Los Angeles. Sheriff deputies fatally shoot black man stopped for riding bicycle. Now, people on the right in the United States will say, well, the guy had a gun or the guy had a toy gun. Ministerian, thank you very much for that super chat. Wait, the EU isn't only unelected bureaucrats? Who knew? It's unbelievable. For how many decades have the Brexiteers, or before they were even called Brexiteers, telling us that the EU is anti-democratic when they can actually choose their commissioner? Too many lies from Hogan. The purge is happening here in America. Oh no, not again. Oh no, not again. I hope is referred to the what's happening in America. Oops, why is that not updating? Sorry, just sometimes it takes a moment to update. Okay. He had a bicycle, deadly weapon. Yes. So I just want to read this article, part of this article. This is just shocking. You know, we've seen how people have been shot for having a gun, not having a toy gun, showing the police, look, I have a gun and I'm willing to hand it over to you. Night Raven, $5 bribe not to show us Trump. You have to up your game there, Night Raven. I'll consider it. He's part of my act. Anyway, back to the serious news. So, two Los Angeles sheriff deputies fatally shot a black man after ordering him to stop on a bicycle. The latest police shooting to rock the region in recent months. Family members identified the 29-year-old Dayon KZ, 29. CBS Los Angeles reported officers shot him on Monday afternoon after they tried to stop him for allegedly violating vehicle codes. Yes, you're cycling a bicycle on the footpath or the pavement or whatever you call it wherever you're from. So we're going to shoot you. Really? The EU has 27,000, 34,000 for 27 countries. UK, for example, has 430,000 for one country, not elected. Upping game. Damn, you put me in a difficult position here. Hey Max, can we skip to Frank get the door and forget Trump in the White House? Wow, you put me in a difficult position. How is it? After 4 years of Trump, Democrats get blamed. How about we talk about Trump and I won't show you his ugly face? How's that as a compromise? Because Tom Nelson keeps asking me to. Nice to see the comment covering UK. Vicky, thank you so much, Vicky. Thank you so much for that super chat. Tom Nelson keeps asking me to. Damn you, Tom. Don't be so pressuring on poor Vicky. Let me read some of your comments. Giro says, good evening, Max. Hello, chat. Cheers to all. Great to have you on the chat, on the stream, Giro. US is an apartheid state that needs outside intervention, just as South Africa did. Wow. They claimed he was riding in the wrong direction and that they attempted to stop him. He resisted and dropped a gun. That's why they claimed they had shot him. The actual position is down to Ursula, and she is pissed with the nuts. Yeah, she's quite upset about what Phil Hogan was up to. Vote Trump. He's the only one who can save us from Trump. No face either. Okay. The Trump supporters are foaming at the mouth, crazy right now. I'm really shocked about what's happening in the United States at the moment. Trump supporters driving through crowds, spraying them with pepper spray, shooting them with paintball guns. I've seen David Pacman, the trumpets, driving around, shooting people with paint guns and spreading pepper spray at random people. And they know that they're not going to get punished for this. Unfortunately, there are many people in the police force who are corrupt, who are indifferent to what happens to ordinary citizens. And I really hope that Donald Trump is kicked out in November. But unfortunately, I've said before, I wouldn't put money on that happening. His fan base are extremely aggressive, extremely vocal, extremely motivated, worst of all. And they are willing to intimidate people at the ballot box. Now, hopefully, more people will vote by postal vote, even though Trump is trying to block that. US is like Gotham City got real. And the US needs a Batman. The Trump supporters think that Donald Trump is the Batman. Donald Trump is a very... is a Wish.com's version, a Wish.com, I almost had it, a Wish.com Joker. He's not he's not even a real Joker. Oh, you know David Pacman? Oh, I do. I'm subscribed to his channel. I'm not one of his paid subscribers, but I am subscribed to his channel. He has very, very good content, but I don't agree with I don't agree completely with his format, but I agree with most of the things he says. 11 more likes for hamsters. Yes, hit that like button, guys. Anyway, let's go back to this article. Kizzy's body was left in the street for hours, sparking a large demonstration of angry residents and activists demanding accountability for the sheriff's agency with the legacy of controversial killings, brutality cases, and corruption scandals. You know, why? Normally the police, when they shoot someone, they call an ambulance. Why didn't they call an ambulance? Normally when they call for backup, I assume an ambulance is also included in that, but it doesn't seem to be the case. Welcome to Patreon, Toby. Great to have you on Patreon. Toby has just become a patron. That's fantastic. So maybe even tonight you can join us on the stream we have after this stream. The sheriff's lieutenant, Brandon Dean, said 2 deputies from the South Los Angeles station had been driving in South Los Angeles neighborhood of Westmont when they saw a man riding his bicycle in violation of vehicle codes, according to the LA Times. It was not known which codes the man allegedly broke, Dean said. When deputies tried to stop him, he dropped his bike and ran, with deputies in pursuit, according to Dean. Deputies then tried to make contact with the man, Dean said. According to the department, the man then punched the deputy. Though police have not provided any evidence to substantiate the claim. Don't they have body cams? The man dropped a bundle of clothes and the deputy stopped a black handgun in the black handgun in the bundle. Spotted a black handgun in the bundle. At which point, both opened fire. So the man dropped a bundle of clothes. Inside the bundle of clothes, there was a gun, and they shot him. So he wasn't armed. If he dropped the bundle of clothes and he had the gun in his hand, then you could shoot him. The man was pronounced dead at the scene. Police said no deputies were injured. Following the shooting, more than 100 people marched to the sheriff's station on Imperial Highway. Some said that they didn't think the shooting was justified, while others chanted, "Say his name, no justice, no peace." Alexander Given, 68, who lives in the neighborhood, questioned why deputies fired at the man, according to the sheriff's official, who was not holding a weapon. If he reached down to grab it, that's different. But if it's on the ground, why shoot? That means he was unarmed. Now, I know people on the right will say, yeah, but he was probably stealing. And, stealing is bad. And if you're stealing, then you deserve to be shot. No, you don't deserve to be shot for stealing. You deserve to be arrested for stealing. There's a difference. If he was armed, if he had the gun in his hand or he had it in some holster and he was ready to point it at the police officers, then it's okay to respond. But also, if you compare how the police react in the United States to how the police react in Europe, the police in Europe, I'm arguing from a point of complete ignorance here, But don't the police in Europe tend to shoot, for the leg or the arm or a part of the body that's not vital? And it's normally a number of shots that the minimum required to bring the person down. I don't know, but if there's somebody who's on the stream who's a police officer or knows something about this, I'd love to know. I'd love to be informed about this, because I don't know how it actually works here in Europe, in the UK or in the European Union. Now, they shoot for the chest. I understand. We have Moonbeam. Great to see you on Patreon, Moonbeam. Great to have you on. Well, we're almost at 100 patrons. That's amazing. Almost at 90 patrons this month. It's fantastic. No one can train to shoot the arm or leg. Bad target. I understand for the military, you don't train to shoot an arm or leg because it's that's not your objective. Your objective is to kill. But surely the police can be trained to do this, or is it necessary to carry firearms? Wouldn't it be better to have a taser? At least, sometimes you see police officers in the United States with tasers. Why do some have tasers and why do others have firearms? Police on the stream in the week. Difficult to shoot arms or legs more than you would think is probably a good point. It's too difficult to shoot someone in the arm or leg, especially if they're at a distance or if they're moving. I've literally watched thousands of Daily Mail threads arguing with each other about whether immigrants take jobs or benefits. Police shoot aim to stop somebody in the legs if possible, in the chest if necessary. Black man runs away from police, gets shot. White man walks towards police with AR-15, nothing happens. Cops are trigger happy here, says Kenny. Kenny's in the United States. Move on from violence, Max. Yes, you're right. We'll move on to Trump. Just to finish on this, this police department, this section of the Los Angeles, this precinct in Los Angeles, the department has faced numerous allegations of gang membership and affiliation with white supremacist groups over the years. It has also been repeatedly accused of intimidating victims' families who speak out and organize protests. Officials have recently faced intense scrutiny for allegedly fabricating stories and withholding evidence. Very bad apples in this precinct. And selectively releasing misleading information about the civilians they kill. Sheriff Vinduluva's chief of staff was reassigned in July after he wrote on social media that Guardos chose his fate. So Guardos, another victim. This is quite sad and quite depressing, so let's move on. So so I could show you Trump, or I could show you Trump, but I was bribed not to show you Trump, so I will move on to something else. This is something that happened over the weekend.
Simon and Joe.
Whoops, Simon and Joe. Let me just mute that. And then we'll... So this took place in London. Let me just check the date. It was the 29th. So it was just 2 days ago. It was a protest against COVID, or for COVID, or against masks, or against something. So these people are extremely concerning for me. We all know someone And we think that those people, that one person is, beyond the pale when it comes to the pandemic. They believe things that they read on Facebook. They believe things that they saw on a blog. When you challenge these people, they will respond with a YouTube video. Now, I had thought that they represented a very small group. But unfortunately, we're starting to see them expand. We're starting to see large numbers of these people. So I just want to show you just how scary this is. This is in London. So we see here, hoax. The system is doing something. Stop medical tyranny. Why is there a Welsh flag? I'm trying to read what it says. I can't read what's written on the... There's a sign here in the middle. 96% something. Okay, somebody has spelled out COVID to mean something else. Now, this is insane. This is not just insane, this is scary. You have all of these idiots here. Same as Germany on Saturday. Even larger numbers in Germany. I saw that in Germany, these people tried to storm the Reichstag. The parliament in Germany, they tried to storm it. Because they're being asked to wear masks. They're being asked to protect the healthcare system. 99% recovery, basically calling for 1% to be euthanized, in my opinion. However, in Germany, righty scum mixed themselves in with masses and tried to storm the parliament. We had it in Dublin too. Sorry, mixed your comment. Yay, 200 likes, fantastic. You guys rock. Double Guitar says we had it in Dublin too. Way too many people at it. It's extremely disappointing to me. If there's a Welsh flag, that means there's a sheep. A sheep easy tonight. The sheep will sleep easy tonight. Oh my god. Oh, don't tell me we have some people on the stream who believe this. These events should be forbidden by law. But my freedom. I think it was around 2 years ago when the Gardaí were called to an altercation where a guy had a shotgun and shot one officer in the arm and leg, and the Gardaí shot back, aiming for his arm. Drugs, separate issue. Jeremy Corbyn's brother. Jeremy Corbyn's brother was has been arrested and fined £10,000, and for this protest for not wearing a mask and other stuff. I saw the interview with Piers Morgan and Piers Corbyn. I think it was the Today or whatever show that the Piers Morgan has. And Piers Morgan went to town on his namesake's Corbyn. We've almost broken Max. It was. I'm not going to show it because I'd probably get a copyright strike or something. But I do recommend checking out Piers Morgan versus Piers Corbyn. Piers Morgan and Piers Corbyn. Piers Morgan asks, do you believe in this? No, I don't believe in this. Do you believe in the science? No, the scientists are all bought off. Do you believe that 5G infects people? Yes, it's of course 5G. There's a connection between. Do you say he was just going through all of the different conspiracy theories and saying, do you believe in this? Yes. Do you believe in this? Yes. He should have asked, do you believe that the Earth is round, is a sphere? Do you believe that we landed on the moon? I don't know why he stopped at just 3 or 4 or 5 of them. He should have gone through all the conspiracy theories that exist. Because I'm sure that Piers Corbyn probably believes all of them. David Icke was there representing the alt-right. David Icke, I sort of admire David Icke to a certain extent because he's maintained this for so long. I imagine David Icke goes home and then puts on, CNN or whatever and goes, okay, now I no longer have to wear my tinfoil hat in public. I can get back to being a normal person again. I imagine David Icke doesn't believe one piece of the things that he says. Because the more you know about the world, the less you believe this sort of things. It's if you thought Jeremy was meet his brother, Jeremy is actually quite a decent guy. It's his brother who's crazy. We all have crazy people in our families. If you haven't found that crazy person in your family, you are the crazy one. I'm not going to tell you who the crazy person in my family is. Maybe I can't find them. Let's just see some more of this. So the Sun, it says here, thousands of coronavirus conspiracy theorists who believed the pandemic is a hoax have marched on London.
Why are public school boys and aristocrats so untouched, so relaxed? Because they know to read newspapers. Because there are small little phrases hidden somewhere which...
Oh, okay, let's just... So this guy is just crazy. I wear a lampshade on my head. That should protect me from 5G. I imagine that's why he's wearing it. It says, an apple a day, vitamin D, zinc, a healthy lifestyle kicks any nonsense astray.
There are small little phrases hidden somewhere.
Hold on, sorry. We have some messages here. This Q, I don't know what it's all about, but I know it's another conspiracy theory. COVID plandemic. Oh my God. We are the 99%. Truth seekers. Wouldn't it be fantastic to go there and troll these people? Arrive in what's the name of those suits? Arrive in one of those suits and go, there's been a dirty bomb or something. You need to evacuate. Max, did you see the insanity that Dolores Cahill and the mob in Dublin last week? Yeah, I saw that as well. Q is basically a conspiracy wrapped into one. If you really want weird stuff, read the QAnon. All-encompassing conspiracy theory. Hazmat suit. Yes, thank you for that, Killer. Coded messages released for truthers to decode. The crazies love it. NBC suits. Oh my God, Quantum of Solace? No, unfortunately not. I think these people are Brits. The cringe factor is over 9,000. Wait until weekend. I do not realize that there were so many unhinged people. Yeah, I thought it was just a small minority of people who believe these things. But while this is just, a small number of people packed into a small place, which makes it look a lot bigger than they actually are, but I don't know, these people will believe anything.
Small little phrases hidden somewhere which say that things are not exactly as they are on the title line. Okay, I'm here.
Was he going to say bollockses? And it's like, yeah, I can't be bothered to turn over the piece of cardboard and write again. He probably wrote bollockses to the new normal. Do not comply. And then he wrote, oh no, shit, I shouldn't have wrote bollockses. Should I get another piece of cardboard from the garage? Or should I, no, I'll just cancel out the S. At least if you're going to be a conspiracy theorist, Don't be a lazy one. Although maybe I should give him credit for actually coming out. He could have like sat at home and did it. He could have, zoomed it in. Oh, spelled wrong. Oh my god. Butterfly nets in the thousands required. Bollocks to Brexit. Now I can imagine this guy definitely doesn't have a problem with Brexit. The scientific ignorance is astounding, and how they prefer the nonsense with none of them even know the sky is blue. I pity the poor NSA man getting run through my brain droppings for a living. Oh my god. Max, the world has gone mad, or maybe I have. No, I think, well, either you have, or I have, or the world has gone mad. I don't know which it is. But these messages are fantastic.
Really? Because I'm here for my kids. I need to know.
Whoops, no, I want to read these messages. These are fantastic. So, no to the web of lies. Bill Gates' experimental vaccine. What? Okay. Digital currency. I thought these guys would have supported digital currency like Bitcoin. 5G in a spider. Ah, yeah, spider web. Okay. Dodgy stats. New normal. COVID pass. Unite for freedom. These people, you know what I feel like saying to these people? You were paid by the deep state to come out and protest, because if you come out and protest and there is another pandemic, they're going to take away our freedoms. So who's paying you to come out and get infected in order to take away our freedoms? The best way to deal with the conspiracy theorists is to create another conspiracy and say that they are part of it. It really pisses them off and gets them to block you from Facebook.
I need to know that when my kids have kids, that I could have stood up and I said something.
Yeah, you're standing up and saying something, all right? Your kids will see this video in the future. This guy has kids. Oh my god. Poor kids. Your kids will see you in the future and say, Daddy, what did you do during 2020? I went to the garage and I took out an old box that was keeping your presents inside for Christmas. I threw away your presents. I took the box, ripped a part of it, the side of it off, wrote bollockses on the side, and then I realized I wrote something wrong, so I had to correct it. But I didn't bother to correct it. I actually just went along with it anyway.
It's less death than a flu. We need to get on with our life. We need to protect.
We will not be silenced with your fear muzzles. Masks are muzzles. New normal, new fascism. New normal. Probably the same one again.
Protect our elderly.
So the problem is, who is funding this? Who is backing this? Some people are saying that it's actually been funded and been backed by the far right in the UK, in the US. Hamster trump card played against these loonies. I promised I wouldn't show you Trump.
As we would do normally for anything else, and we just need to grow a pair of balls and get on with it.
The main reason I'm here is really to stand up for our...
Damn it, the camera moves too quickly. It says here, repeal the Coronavirus Act. There isn't a Coronavirus Act. The rally began at midday with protesters calling for an end to government lives over the pandemic.
The reason I'm here is really to stand up for our civil...
The worst part of censorship is that is fine. Trust your government. I hope these people didn't vote for Boris Johnson, or don't plan to vote for Boris Johnson in the future. Let me guess, they're going to vote for Boris Johnson in the future. Or the Conservative Party, I should say.
Liberties and human rights in the face of a supposed public health emergency, which...
Scandemic. Okay, here we have Professor Dolores Cahill Rocks. Oh my god. COVID cure. So this Dolores Cahill. She's allegedly a medical doctor, and she has been a voice in Ireland against... Daddy, did you live in the cardboard box? Oh, they voted for this government, I'm sure. Yes, I agree. I think these people are, if not Brexit Party supporters, they're definitely Conservative Party supporters. Or maybe also, Labour Party supporters. But at the same time, I think Piers Morgan's brother is trying to disown him. They will vote for the first person admitted to be QAnon supporter in the UK. This is what I'm afraid of. What's going to happen after Donald Trump? When Donald Trump eventually leaves office, if he's kicked out in November, hopefully, or if he leaves in 2024, the next candidate the Republicans will put up will be some of these idiots. Will be one of these types of people. I went to an anti-COVID rally, and all I got was COVID.
For the first 2 or 3 weeks, I think everyone in the country was probably prepared to give the government the benefit of the doubt that there might be a dead...
Jesus Christ will return soon. Can you put a date on that, please? I would actually welcome Jesus Christ at this stage. It can't get any worse.
The contagious pandemic in progress. However, we're now 6 months on, and the Coronavirus Act, which gives the government extraordinary powers, is up for renewal.
Now, this is a little bit frustrating because he's actually talking about something that's real. Boris Johnson has a huge amount of power, but this is to give Boris Johnson power. It's to give the Conservative Party protection against against the judiciary. It's not about the pandemic. It's the pandemic is a tool to allow Boris Johnson to avoid scrutiny from Parliament or under the law. We saw last year how he prorogued Parliament, and he was forced by under the law to ask for an extension. He was forced by the law to respect the Benn Act. So this was the law intervening to make sure that Boris Johnson respected the Benn Act. I don't think these people care about the Benn Act. I don't think these people care about respecting the law. It's more, we care about Boris, we care about the government, whoever they are, even though we voted for them. We care about them taking away our freedoms. But it's not so much your freedoms, it's taking away Parliament's power. But I don't know if they would agree with me on that. So Jeremy Corbyn's brother, Piers, was arrested at the rally after he gave a speech at the event. The police should actually arrest people for getting in the way because they're not respecting social distancing. What's your legal fiction? Media equals virus. Fear equals... Okay.
The main reason why I'm here is that the severity of COVID has been blown out of proportion, so the measures that are in place are unnecessary when there's things like swine flu had a higher mortality rate than COVID.
Oh my God, these people are insane.
They bring out...
I knew the EU would get blamed at some stage here, so you can see on the sign on the right says EU, NATO, WHO, UN, We Forum. I am not familiar with the We Forum. I must check it out. 5G, Agenda 21. So this Agenda 21 allegedly is to sterilize the population, to wipe out half of humanity or something like this. COVID overblown are Elon Musk fans. Elon Musk wants people back to work. He wants to make his money. He doesn't care about the COVID. He doesn't care about. He said, yeah, it's overblown, whatever. I just want people back into work. I have a luxury lifestyle to maintain. Will they get infected? I don't care. We have a queue of people who'd like to work in our factories.
Mandatory masks, and yet they bring out eat out to help out. So there's loads of people in a restaurant. None of it makes sense. There's too many questions that are unanswered, and people just aren't asking them.
Reptilians plus aliens are demons. Jesus saves. Where does he save? Does he save in the Halifax? Night Raven. Okay, I give up. Trump. We're actually near the end of the stream, so we'll just have time for Donald Trump. But these people, I just want to finish on this. These people are insane. They're everywhere. And they're getting bigger all the time. They rely on the likes of social media to spread this disinformation. And it's really sad. Maybe people feel when they're part of the conspiracy, being part of the conspiracy theorist community, that they have the information, that the rest of the world are just sheep. They're the ones who have this secret information. It gives them some sense of power. It gives you this idea that, look, my life is depressing. I have a dead-end job. My life is going nowhere. My children hate me. I'm unhealthy. I have no friends. But once I latch on to this community, I latch on to this conspiracy theory, it gives me a sort of sense of power. It gives me this idea that I know something that the rest of the world doesn't know. The rest of the world doesn't understand. I'm the one who sees through the lies of the politicians. Max, only a couple of months left to get some Trump in, and then he's out. Max, very, very important to point out that Dolores Cahill is an old right-wing nut job. Yeah, no, I understand that she is. She also does videos with Computing Forever, which is a right-wing YouTube channel, and also the Irish Independence Party, which is a right-wing party. Agenda 21 is a real thing. Buy it, and it has been taken out of context by the tinfoil hat woo-wooists. The most dangerous people are the ones thinking to know everything. They will never learn, only when their lives are in danger. But until then, they don't change their minds. So if somebody says to me, I don't know everything, I respect that. I don't respect people who say, I know everything. I know some of these people, and I try to keep as much distance from them as possible. Check out Alex Belfield. Yeah, I was going to do actually a video response to Alex Belfield. He's on YouTube. Is nothing, according to this expert, the Kung Flu, as he described it, has 100,000 subscribers. It's frightening. I'm surprised George Galloway isn't there. George probably wasn't invited. That's why he wasn't there. He wasn't given a speaker's position. But I am surprised he's not there. That would be really his thing. Irish Independence Party, a bit late. They caught it in 1921. I think it's called the Irish Independence Party. So just before we finish, of course, we back by popular demand is Donald Trump. So once again, Donald Trump attacks Joe Biden for stuff.
I think a lot of people are looking at what's happening to these Democrat-run cities and they're disgusted. They see what's going on and they can't believe this is taking place in our country. I can't believe.
Yeah, it's terrible, Donald. You know, imagine if somebody should speak to the person in charge of all of this. You know, who could they speak to? They could, if there was somebody in charge of the entire country that, you know, should be taking responsibility for this, should be trying to heal the community, heal the communities, heal the country. Imagine if we could find, you know, some leader of the United States, I don't know, a president, who we could speak to and ask, why the hell aren't you doing something about it?
Believe it either. One of the reasons I'm making the trip today and going to Wisconsin is we've had such a...
Yeah, I'm going to Wisconsin because I need to win that state. Are there people protesting? There are riots. There are members of my supporters driving trucks around, spraying people with pepper spray and shooting them with paintballs. Yeah, but I'm going there because I need to win that state. If I don't win that state, then I look likely to lose in November. So I need to go there. Who gives a crap whether the people there want me to go there or not? It's down to the governors, firstly. Pumpkin face with country. Okay, I really want to ask a Trump supporter, why the hell does Donald Trump wear orange makeup? Why orange? Really? Like, if it was some sort of tan color, you could sort of get away with it. But orange? Why orange? I never understood this. You know, couldn't he do spend 3 hours a day in the tanning bed or something? But orange paint on his face. Why orange? Why is he afraid of losing? He's already decided that they're never going to elect another ever again. Yes. So Trump got sick. Must go. Night. I'm sorry. Mini Malta. And a red tie. Yes. Good point, Tom. Orange goes well with that suit. It's like an oversized Oompa Loompa. Orange hides the reptilian green. Ah, that's good. It's not orange, Max. It's made up tan. Orange Cove. It's a tan ointment. It matches his tie. He wears orange skin to highlight the tie. Oh my god, his real color, skin color is green. Now we're getting into conspiracy theories.
Big success in shutting down what would be right now a city that would have been Kenosha, a city that would have been burnt to the ground by now. And we're going to really say hello to law enforcement and the National Guard. And it all stopped immediately upon the National Guard's arrival. So, you know, it'd be easy to stop. I saw last night where...
Why does he never ask, why are these people protesting? Why are these people angry? Why don't you go and meet with them? You know, even if he thought it was something that he didn't even believe in, but he actually said, look, if I went there and met with these people, met with the protesters, met with the community, it would actually give him some cred. It would give him, it would at least give him the fake, how can I say, the fake facade, the facade of being caring. He could go there and say, look, I'm going to actually meet with these people. Maybe the stream has gone down. No, now it's back. Apologies, guys. Something happened with the stream. Not my fault. I think it's on YouTube's side. But it seems to be working again. But as I don't know where I got cut off. I was probably talking for ages and then I didn't realize I was cut off. But if he actually went and met with people and said, look, I'm here to listen, I think it would actually help his chances. Trump only cares about himself. That's it.
These radical anarchists were trying to get into the mayor's house, and lots of bad things were happening to this poor, foolish, very stupid mayor. I mean, how he could be mayor. I have no idea, but
How did this person be elected to be mayor? You know, how did that happen? It's kind of a friggin' election. They were elected. They ran a campaign and they became elected. That's how they became mayor. How did this stupid person become mayor? I asked the same question about you, Donald.
all he has to do is call, and within 10 minutes, their problem will be over. As you know, they have to call us. They have to call and request help. All he has to do is call, and the problem will end.
But once again, why don't you ask why this is a problem? I wish a journalist would ask, Mr. President, why is this happening? Why don't you meet with these people? Why don't you listen to them? At least ask him it.
They had tremendous numbers of people really harassing him horribly, and I guess trying to break into his house. And he still sticks up with them because he's a fool. Only a fool would stick up for him like that. These are anarchists, these are agitators, they're rioters, they're looters, they're bad people. They're burning down Portland, and you take a look at that, you take a look at the scenes last night, and then...
Okay, I've, inflicted enough Donald Trump on you for a lifetime. But what I want to do is, he brought up a very interesting point about looters being bad people. Now, let me see if I can find it. Oh, damn it. Don't tell me I lost it. Here we go. So there's an article that was doing the rounds a few days ago, and it pissed off a lot of people on the right. Let me just open it up here. It says here, one author's controversial view in defense of looting. Now, this article was attacked on the right. There's a book about it as well, and it's a very interesting read. I'm going to read a little bit from it, and we can have a discussion about. Well, I can give you my opinions on it. You can write your opinions in the chat. It's actually updated. Okay, I read it a few days ago, so hopefully it hasn't changed a lot. In the past months of demonstrations for Black Lives, there has been a lot of condemnation of looting. Whether it was New York Governor Andrew Cuomo saying that stealing purses and sneakers from high-end stores in Manhattan was inexcusable, to St. Paul, Minnesota Mayor Melvin Carter saying looters were destroying our community. Police officers, government officials and pundits alike have denounced the property damage and demanded an end to the riots. And just last week, rioters have burned buildings and looted stores in Kenosha, Wisconsin, following the police shooting of Jacob Blake, to which Senator Ron Johnson, Republican from Wisconsin, has said, peaceful protesting is a constitutionally protected form of free speech. Rioting is not. So our normal reaction to rioting is, disgust. People are, how dare these people go into these buildings, wreck the buildings, steal, and destroy. They're destroying their community. They're destroying property. How is this acceptable? I just want to read some of your comments before I go on to the next part of the article. Don't you get tired of the right and their culture war rhetoric? I do get tired of the right and their culture war rhetoric. And it seems to be something that's infesting also the UK at the moment. We saw it blow up over these protests and these, finger wagging over the Rule Britannia song being eliminated or being the lyrics being not played or sang during the last night of the proms. And this was, an eroding of our history. It's the suppression of Britishness. And this, when it's played like that, when this article is presented in this way, it's very tempting to a lot of people. I could never loot. I needed half an hour to try different sneakers. I find the most comfy. When they kneeled, they lost their job. When they protested, they were beaten and broken. Now they have no choice but to break glass and burn cars. Very well said, dude. So in the article they asked the writer questions. So the first question is, for people who haven't read your book, how do you define looting? So she said, when I use the word looting, I mean the mass expropriation of property, mass shoplifting during a moment of upheaval or riot. That's the last thing I'm defending. So that's the thing I'm defending. I'm not defending any situation in which property is stolen by force, and not a home invasion either. It's about a certain kind of action that's taken during protests and riots. Looting is a highly radicalized word that is very inceptive in the English language. It's taken from Hindi, loot, which means goods or spoils, and it appears in the English Colonial Officer's Handbook on Indian vocabulary in the 19th century. So it goes on to say, during the uprising of the past summer, rioting and looting have often gone hand in hand. Can you talk about the distinction you see between the two? Rioting generally refers to any movement of mass upheaval, unrest or upheaval. Riots are a space in which a mass of people have produced a situation in which the general laws that govern society no longer function, and people can act in different ways in the streets and in public. I'd say that rioting is a broader category in which looting appears as a tactic. Often looting is more common among movements that are coming from below. It tends to be an attack on a business, a commercial place, a space, maybe a government building, taking those things that would otherwise be commoditized and controlled and sharing them for free. So this is a very, very powerful paragraph here. The idea that looting is a response to a society that no longer cares about the people at the bottom. You know, the people in the United States who are being shot by the police, this isn't stopping. The individual police officers sometimes get arrested. The individual police officers sometimes lose their jobs. The individual police officers sometimes get punished in other ways. But the system doesn't change. It happens again and again and again. And people become tired of that. People see, I'm not able to change the system. The system doesn't give a crap about me. So why should I give a crap about the system? And if you have nothing, and you live in a society that tells you that you are a good person if you have X, Y, and Z, if you have the expensive trainers or sneakers, you have the expensive or branded tracksuit or jacket or hat or whatever it is. And if you don't have that, you are somewhat a bad person, you're inferior. And you're being, you want to change that, but you see that the society around you doesn't want to change to allow you to actually improve your position in society. People get frustrated. People are told you need to have this, but you're not allowed to actually really have it. It's like, the sneakers are behind a sheet of glass, but you're being told to take them. And you can't take them. And I think something else that works into this is the marketing behind all of these commercial products. And she says in the article as well that it's not about stealing from individuals. It's not about stealing from even people who you think may have some money or something. It's about stealing from corporations. It's about taking something that has been prioritized, been commercialized, and distributing it to the public for free. It's not. We tend to look at people stealing sneakers and say, oh, well, they can't eat them. Why are they stealing them? But that's not the point. The point is, the sneakers have been commercialized. They have been put in a category that is beyond the reach of these people. But these people are being told, you need to buy them, you need to get them, you need to have them. If you have them, then you're an acceptable member of society. And I this is my own thinking on this. I don't know whether it's correct or not, but that's the impression I get. So guys, we've reached the end of the stream tonight, but don't go away, because of course before we end the stream we always have our one for the road. It's always a funny video if you're new to the stream. So I just want to say a big thank you to everyone who's come on the stream tonight. We got up to 300 viewers, over 300 viewers. That was amazing. I think it's a new record. I think we had broken a record on Friday. Now we've broken another one. Anyone who's just become a Patreon, please do check out the Discord server. If you need some help to access it, or if you need some help when you're on the Discord server, either contact me or one of the moderators. On the moderators, thanks so much. 317, fantastic. Thanks so much to all the moderators for keeping the channel clean, keeping out the trolls, and keeping the stream on the straight and narrow. Thanks to everyone who has sent a super chat, who has donated, greatly appreciated. As always, they are a great help for the channel and maintaining it. And if you can't subscribe, if you can't donate or become a patron, even just liking the videos or sharing them on Facebook or other social media websites is a great help to the channel. Okay, so I'll shut up now and let's listen to our one for the road, which is, of course, Nicola, as always a favorite.
Hi there, Nicola here. Yes, I'm wearing my wee purple crossover top that I got at Big Singer McDade's Pippity party with all the Sandras. Well, what a fucking week it's been. That's the number spiking up. We've got the highest number of spikes because people are having house parties, and there's no matter how many times you've been told, they keep doing it. And then in London, we've got David Icke and these lizards shouting that it doesn't exist. So you're either going to believe fucking David Icke or you're going to believe the scientists. In other news, we've got the ambulance service will be doing the testing so the soldiers can go back to their soldiering. Right, we're going to be taking a couple of questions for journalists. First up, Archie McGlumfer. I can't find the button, Nicola. Nicola, what button am I pressing? For fuck's sake. Next.
They're claiming the music ban in pubs is suffocating the nighttime economy.
Well, the reason we're having the music ban on is because when people hear music, they have to shout really loud into each other's face. I mean, I've been in a disco hen. I look as though I've not been in one for a long time. But loud pubs and loud music helps to spread the virus because you've got some arsehole screaming right into your face. And then we've got the house parties. We've got people all having ramdans and rannies in their house. And that's why the virus is spreading. We're only trying to save everybody's life here. I'm trying to stop the fucking virus from being spread and people asking me questions, are you trying to kill the nighttime economy? No, I'm trying to stop a virus from spreading. Oh, fuck. Right, okay. So, put on your emotional life jacket, keep your family afloat, look after each other, make sure you're not spreading the disease, stay apart, wear a mask, you know all the rules. I'm asking you to comply with them so we can try and not be forced back into lockdown. It's that simple. Right, I'm out of here. Big Philomena, she's got a wee hot pot for me, so I'm off. Right, where's my clicky pen? Fucking feet are killing me. Right, Frank, get the door. I want a wee salmon patty and toast. Move it, Sharon.
Fantastic, as always. So once again, thanks to everyone for coming on the stream. I love how she says hoose. Everyone in the hoose parties. So thanks once again for everyone coming on the stream. Thanks to everyone for sending a super chat, donation, and becoming a Patreon. And thanks to everyone who has moderated tonight. It has been a lot of work, I know, and my heart goes out to all of you. So guys, don't forget to check out the merch store. There should be some new stuff coming up in the next couple of days. And if you'd like to become a patron, the links are in the description of the video. So I see you all on Friday night, same bat time, same bat channel, and 9:30 British Summer Time. So have a great week, guys. Stay safe, as Boris Johnson always says. Wear that mask, wash those hands, and I'll see you all on Friday night. Good night, guys. Take it easy.